Hey guys, Joe Madden here, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I'm joined today by Michael KB, the real Mike KB on Twitter, NBA sports writer for CBS Sports. Michael, how's the day treating you?
Hey, pretty good so far, Joe. Thanks for having me back on.
I'm excited to have you back. We had such a great time the last time, and I can't wait to talk NBA with you. Get your thoughts on this. But first, can you let everyone know where to find you on all your social media outlets?
Yeah, for sure, Joe. Thanks. The best spot to find me is on Twitter. That's definitely where I'm the most active. I post all my articles, random sports thoughts and musings there. It's at the real Mike KB. The real, just so you know, in case there's any imposters, you don't want the fake Mike KB, you want the real one. But yeah, that's the best place to find me. I have a link to my CBS writer page in the bio there, and post most of my articles. So that's the best spot to find me for sure.
Awesome. I love it. Well, the NBA playoffs, we've seen some major blowouts in the last week here. We've got the Heat leading the series over the Boston Celtics 2-1. Now, the game is in Boston tonight. What are you thinking in this one, Boston being the favorite?
Yeah, this series has been a bit surprising to me so far, more so than the other one, because I really thought the Celtics were kind of going to come out and put their stamp on this series and take an early lead. But the Heat, man, they don't give up. They're super deep. They fight hard, and they're super well coached. They're just one of those teams that like you're not going to put down easily, and they're gonna make it a fight. And that's exactly what they've done so far in this series. I think injury issues have played a pretty sizable role in this one on both sides. The Heat, obviously, Kyle Lowry's been in and out of the lineup. Jimmy Butler missed the second half of last game. Celtics have been dealing with guys, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, players, really important guys in and out of the lineup. So I think it's been a little bit tough for both teams to find some consistency. And that might be why we've seen, not only the games themselves going back and forth in terms of who wins, but even within the course of the game, you see these crazy lead swings. The Heat got up by like 25 in the first half. Last game, the Celtics came all the way back in the second half. It was almost flipped in game two. So it's tough to know what to expect. I think the unders in terms of betting has been a good thing in terms of all the defense. And tonight, I do expect the Celtics to go and take care of business and tie this series up. It's in Boston, obviously. They already lost the first game in front of their home fans. I think they'll be motivated to, obviously not lose both of them at home, and they'll not want to fall behind 3-1 to a tough Heat team like this. So I think they obviously realize how important this game is for the rest of the series. So if I was putting money on a game tonight, I'd probably go with Boston and the under.
Okay, so we have seen some line movement in the last hour here. Boston is now a 7-point favorite. We're a 6-point favorite earlier this morning, and the total has dropped down to 206 from that 207 and a half. If Boston wins this, are you expecting a blowout here tonight? Or are you expecting a tight game?
I don't think so, Joe, because like we were just saying, it's been so tough for both teams to maintain a lead because both the other squad is so good. So I think that the Celtics will be able to pull it out, but that 7-6 spread, I feel like that's like right on the nose. Of course, is always the way, but that's pretty much what I expect to see, a Celtics win, but probably not a blowout. Now, saying that, who knows, will come out and they'll probably win by 30 with the way the series has been going. But I do think this one will be a little bit closer, and the Celtics still pull it out.
Okay, and who are you hoping to take the series here between these two?
I don't necessarily have a rooting interest. I think I'd like to see it obviously go 7 games and be a hard fought series. And then, at the end of the day, whichever team can come out, I think it looks like they'll be playing the Golden State Warriors, obviously. So maybe the Celtics, because I think they would have a little bit better of a chance against the Warriors in terms of being able to keep pace with them offensively and having some answers for them defensively. So for that reason, I guess I'd be pulling for the Celtics. But overall, I would just like to see this one go 7 games and obviously be an entertaining series.
Okay, now we have to look at the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks. Is there a chance ever that this one is going to go to the 7 games? We know the Golden State Warriors are up 3-0 in this. Dallas done?
I think so, Joe. I think they're done. You could probably stick a fork in them. No team in NBA history has ever come back in a best-of-7 series after being down 3-0. And I don't expect the Mavericks to be the first team to do that against the Warriors team with as much talent and experience as this current Warriors team. I think if the Mavericks were going to have a chance, it was going to have to be last night, to make that series a 2-1. They were back in Dallas for a home game. And I thought that last night was really the opportunity. Unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize on it. And now, I'm not saying they might still be able to pull out a game 4 back at home in Dallas with their whole season on the line. You would hope that they would come out, motivated and encouraged to pull out a win. But ultimately, if they do get that win, I don't see it going past Game 5 in Golden State.
Yeah, now Luka can't play much better than we've been seeing. He's been playing phenomenal. Are you looking for him to have another solid game here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to need to, but at the end of the day, both of their last 2 games, he scored 40 plus and they still lost. So like you said, I mean, how much more can he really do? I think ultimately you're really just seeing a talent disparity between these 2 teams, where the Warriors have, several high level guys that they can count on. And the Mavericks is really Luka and some solid role players. Jalen Brunson's been great. I don't want to take away from him, but other than him, it's a lot of just shooters and role players that aren't really capable of, taking the game over. They're kind of hit or miss. And I think that's been the difference in this series. As good as Luka is, he can't do it all by himself. So I think moving forward for Dallas, the main thing is going to be, get him a good sidekick, a little bit of, presence in the paint. And then they could be, obviously a really dangerous team next year and beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's more than likely Golden State Warriors will move on. Who do you think they'd rather play? The Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics? And out of those 2 teams, which team do you think wins between the Golden State Warriors and them?
That's a great question. I think they would, probably rather play the Heat. I'm just, this is just a guess. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't talked to them, but I think they'd probably rather play the Heat just due to the lack of high side offensive talent, I guess, on that end of the floor. They have Jimmy Butler. And then, Bam Adebayo comes and goes. Some of their other guys, Tyler Hero, is kind of inconsistent. With the Celtics, you have, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and a lot of other capable guys around them that could get it done on both ends of the floor. I think the Celtics, at least on paper, would be a little bit tougher of a matchup for the Warriors. So, they'd probably rather see the Heat. But at the end of the day, I'm sure they'll be ready for whatever. And as long as they can stay healthy, I think the Warriors would, be able to take care of business against either of those teams, really, and potentially win their 4th title during this run with the big 3 of Draymond, Steph, and Clay.
Absolutely. Now, do you think the Golden State Warriors take it fast then in the next round in that series? Or do you think that one will probably be a battle no matter who they face?
I think it'll probably be a battle no matter who they face. Both of those teams, like we were talking about, are really scrappy, deep, well coached and talented. I think that will translate to at least a couple wins, no matter which team it would be. So when we end up having to give our predictions for work in between every series, I'll probably end up picking the Warriors in 6, maybe 7, depending on how the rest of that Eastern Conference series shakes out. But like we were saying, at the end of the day, I think the Warriors are the most talented team left. They also obviously have the most experience and know how to kind of get it done. And I think they'll be able to kind of ride that momentum into another championship.
Yeah, it definitely would be great to see them win that championship and it for go to 6. I'm not ready for the NBA to be finished, and I'm sure you're not either.
No, definitely not. It's always nice at the end of the season when you get a little bit of a break, but it always takes me like a couple weeks to get accustomed to not having the games, not having something to look forward to. So, I hang on to the playoffs for as long as I can, and then when summer comes, you try to embrace it.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, we'll definitely have you back on next week if you have the time. I want to thank you so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Can you remind everyone again where to find you and everything that you've got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having me on, Joe. I've been really enjoying these sessions. And you could find me, like I said earlier, on Twitter at @TheRealMikeKB. I'm also on Instagram at MichaelKB, but it's a little bit less work related there. All my writing and everything will be on Twitter. That's the best place to find me. Pretty active on there. Sure, once the season dies down, I'll be a little bit less active, try to, decompress, disconnect a little bit. But at @TheRealMikeKB is the place to find me. So again, thanks for having me on, Joe. It's been really great talking to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me here. Appreciate it. Enjoy this game tonight and tomorrow nights. And we'll definitely see you back here next week if you have the time, Mike.
Sounds good, Joe. Thank you very much.